I called Alex Honnold. Bum, bum, bum. This is Alex Honnold, by the way. Alex Honnold is making this argument, so he probably knows what he's talking about a little bit. If this isn't an in-your-face swaggerer, I didn't even know that was a word. It sounds like a slur. At this point in our call, I began to feel a little bit sorry for Lincoln Knowles. Aw, feel sorry for me, please. Please feel sorry. He stays inside. He writes climbing magazine articles. Your life is not better than mine. I'm sorry. I literally free solo every day, make a 60-second reel, and make bands. People are gonna hate me regardless. That's why I do what I do. Tight shit. So the idea comes from you, Honnold. I'm not trying to argue with this guy. Also, I hope he doesn't listen to this video. If you are Honnold, do not listen to this video because I'm embarrassed. The culture of not giving a fuck and doing whatever you want to do and posting it and not caring is integral to climbing. He's saying a normal cast is a big kid who's kicking me out of the playground. I'm already in the playground, motherfucker. You can't play on the ground unless you got my permission type shit. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're in the hate room again. My last video, I reacted to a podcast by the Normocast talking about some questionable things that I was doing, and now we're back in the hate room again to read none other than a climbing magazine article. Okay, this is the biggest publication in all of climbing, and even though they've posted me before as a good guy, now they're posting me as a bad guy. So we're gonna read the article and see if I have any disagreements or any negative things to say, because they definitely had a lot of negative things to say about me. The title is Climbing's Newest Social Media Star is Going Viral for Free Soloing. Lincoln Knowles says he is free soloing a harder route every day until he falls. But why are we watching? I found Lincoln Knowles through an Instagram post. The floppy-haired 21-year-old was dancing to the rap song Young, Black, and Rich on the edge of a cliff, mimicking a Sumatran child who recently went viral for dancing on the prow of a racing boat. A text overlay read, "When you just got the first free solo sent of the longest sport climb in America, 1,900 feet tall, but you're still not sponsored, so you have to Aura Farm for money. Like an up-and-coming OnlyFans model." Lincoln provided his Venmo in the caption. First of all, what OnlyFans model is putting their Venmo in the caption, okay? You can't even say that that is an OnlyFans thing. And also the last guy also compared me to OnlyFans model, which I guess is fair. I'm selling out something that they think is sacred, just like OnlyFans models do with sex. So I guess that's a fair comparison. Over 80,000 people had liked this post, but I instantly found myself irritated. Who is this clown? He wants me to send him money for free soloing? No one is Venmoing you for that, bro, I wrote. In the days that followed, my comment racked up a measly 4 likes. Meanwhile, the top comment on the post, 4,300 likes and counting, gushed that Knowles was coming for Alex Honnold's title as a free soloing icon. Was I missing something? So your comment only got 4 likes, bro, because you're a hater. Okay, first of all, you're a hater. Second of all, people did Venmo me, so you were wrong. Not to be salty. The line Knowles soloed, Squash Truck 511B, is certainly a contender for the longest bolted route in the United States. It's also fairly sustained in its difficulty, with 22 pitches predominantly mid-range 510. But it has just one 511 pitch and multiple opportunities to bail by traversing. True. All of this is true. There's only one 511 pitch. It's barely 511. It's 511B, but if you're tall, it's really not that hard. But I was still the first person to do it, so I would consider that a victory. And he says, in other words, it's not exactly the sort of effort that most serious free soloists would brag about online. So I would say that it is something that someone would brag about online if they're on a podcast, but my form of online attention comes from social media instead of things like podcasts. Bragging about free soloing online, however, is exactly what Lincoln Knowles does for a living. Lincoln Knowles has become infamous for his Instagram and YouTube pages, which include videos such as drunk bouldering, banned from gym, free soloing buildings until I get arrested, he doesn't, and a campaign to free solo a harder route every day until I fall. The most recent video in the latter series was Squash Truck and was posted around 5 weeks ago. If he's still alive, that means Knowles free soloed a 517C today. Congratulations. That is pretty funny. I will admit that is pretty funny. But I don't think that every day necessarily has to mean every calendar day, but mainly every day of the series. So that's basically why. But you're right. I guess most people do every day, so maybe I fundamentally misunderstood the concept. So I'm sorry for not soloing 517C. I might go try later after this, but it won't turn out very well. At first glance, it's hard to understand what draws viewers to this type of video. Do people really want to see him fall? Possibly. Right now, Knowles is one of the most viral figures in climbing media. His Instagram has over 70K. Some of his posts have over 150,000 likes. And his YouTube channel, Knowles & Company, has racked up over 13 million views. Thanks to you. When I called Knowles up, okay, so about a month ago, this guy called me. He's like, I want to do an interview about you. You seem like an interesting figure. Your videos are kind of shock value, but I kind of understand them. And then I was like, cool, like I don't know. Like I haven't really done anything that cool. Yeah, so maybe you should wait to interview me, because I was thinking he was gonna glaze me, but he didn't glaze me at all. He hates me. But it's okay, I understand. He's doing it for the views. What a clout chaser. So he called me. I did the interview in this very room. It was chill. It was nice. And then he said he was going to talk to Honnold, so I got a little scared. When I called Knowles up, he told me that he didn't mind that I'd poke fun at him online, telling me that my reaction was kind of the point. He sees his online presence as a character, designed not to reflect his actual personality, but to garner engagement. It started with pure rage baiting, he said. Now it's evolved to like a half rage baiting and half shock value. I don't remember saying that. Maybe I did. My account definitely started as pure rage baiting and just jokes and just like funny skit content, especially on YouTube. And then it turned into like trying to make the solos seem as dramatic as possible, which definitely is shock value and rage baiting. But also there are some serious videos where I'm doing things that are kind of serious and just showing actual moments. So I don't know if it's actually half and half, but Knowles even makes fun of himself on many of his posts, like a troll alter ego by commenting using his personal account. See, that's big brain tactics. When I asked Knowles about his free soloing a harder grade until I fall videos, he was reluctant to admit he was joking. It's kind of an excuse to push my solo grade in a way that is structured, he said, and also try to make money. Facts, I was spitting. And I'm glad he used that quote. It's kind of an excuse to push my solo grade in a way that is structured. So in order to get good at soloing, you have to go through the ranks of soloing, I think. I mean, some people just skip straight to hard soloing, but yeah, that's exactly how I feel. So he got that right. I mean, it's just a quote from me, so. But he butchered a lot of other shit. Rock climbing post-COVID explosion, coupled with the rise of self-made content creators on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, have given us a fresh breed of climber. The in-your-face swaggerer, the spawn of the chronically online age. First of all, I would argue that the in-your-face swaggerer has been around since the Stone Masters. Warren Harding, John Verman, he literally is drinking a beer on a 13B in flip-flops. And it is staged. Show the picture. This picture is staged, but he is still, if this isn't an in-your-face swaggerer, swaggerer, I didn't even know that was a word. It sounds like a slur. If this isn't an in-your-face swaggerer, then I don't know what it is, bro. Because climbing started as a counterculture pursuit. And part of that is to be like, fuck you to the normal people, the out-of-your-face These new figures like Knowles have managed. Who else is an in-your-face swagger is my question. Xander, Thirst Trap TikToks. Maybe even Zach Gala, bro, are in-your-face swaggers. These new figures like Knowles have managed to eschew the barriers of traditional media. Instead, they hand-deliver their exploits to their masses without a filter. In many ways, the new system has democratized the path to fame and fortune. If you're savvy enough to create the type of content that people want to see, you can give the middle finger to brands, magazines, and other age-old gatekeepers of the spotlight. I'm in the magazines, bitch. Clearly, I have the magazine now. Okay, I got another one, but now I got two. I would argue that if you are good at the social media, then all the other things come with it, including sponsors. Shout out on-site climbing chalk. You don't even have to climb hard. I would argue that you do have to climb hard. Case in point, you don't really have to climb hard. You have to climb hard enough that the average person thinks it's impressive. But like most people can't tell the difference between a 12D and a 14D. I'm going to be honest. You just have to make videos that people enjoy watching, that your fans can finance your exploits. Knowles does have some traditional sponsors, but supplements his income with a crowd-funded Patreon and video ad revenue. I want to make money off climbing, he told me. My end goal is to climb as my job, and however I can get there is fine with me. Knowles is also using his newfound fame on social media to pressure himself to climb harder. This is where it gets controversial. Quote, if I didn't have this external pressure from Instagram followers to keep upping my soloing grade, maybe I would have just stopped at 10B. I did regret saying this. I did say this word for word, and I do regret it. Kind of. Let me explain. So basically, when I have a series where I'm held accountable to solo harder every day, and I know I can solo up to a certain grade, then there's basically no excuse in my brain for me to just be like, oh, I don't want to solo today, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of like if a girl's watching, you kind of have to do it when you know you can do it. But if you actually think that you can't do it, then obviously you're not going to do it even though the girl's watching, you know? So social media is basically like a calendar. It's holding me accountable to post every day. And since I know I'm comfortable with soloing up into a certain grade, soloing is so mental that it's like, if I decide that I want to do something on that day, then I can do something on that day. Basically, I have this challenge that holds me accountable where I have to keep soloing harder. When I pointed out that such an aggressive soloing diet would likely end in near-term death, he shrugged me off. Quote, you'll have to subscribe to my Patreon to find out. I did not say this shit. Okay, maybe I did, but no, I do remember saying that actually. So if I know I can free solo 12A and all the days are just 5.9, 5.10A, 5.10B, 5.10C, like obviously I'm going to be able to do those days if I know I can solo 12A. So it's like, why is that bad? Basically, it's not bad. It's just people think it's bad because it's external pressure. But really the internal motivation is there, but sometimes you need a little bit of external to push you over the edge to actually do something. Like if you see Niagara Falls and you want to climb it, if you're Will Gadd, you're like, well, I have to do all this random shit. I have to get approval from Niagara Falls. I have to do all this marketing. I have to set up. I have to have people help me. Like you wanted to do it anyway. And you knew you could do it. But now the fact that Red Bull is paying you 100 bands to do it, you're like, damn, I'm actually going to do it now. It's more than just a dream. It's an actual reality that's going to help me in life. So that's kind of what I feel like the series did for me, is it changed it from just a goal and a dream to an actual reality. So he says an aggressive soloing diet would likely end in near-term death. Obviously, if you keep continuing past the grades that you're comfortable with, it's going to be near-term death. But if you slow down and go at your own pace, that's why the everyday thing is not every day. It's every day I post a video. So maybe that was misleading, and I'm sorry, but At this point in our call, I began to feel a little bit sorry for Lincoln Knowles. Aw, feel sorry for me, please. Please feel sorry for me. I also began to wonder if I was simply missing something because I'm not a free soloist. So I hit up someone who might understand. I called Alex Honnold. This is where it gets fucking real. He does not feel sorry for me, okay? This dude is pretty chill. He's a pretty chill guy. He just threw that in to freaking give me the middle finger. But he stays inside. He writes climbing magazine articles. Your life is not better than mine. I'm sorry. I literally free solo every day, make a 60-second reel, and make bands. So please, don't feel sorry for me, especially you. I don't really think he feels sorry for me. I don't really know why he said that, but it kind of caught me off guard when I first read it. I've only read this once, by the way. I skimmed it, okay? I wanted to save the reaction. I called Alex Honnold. Quote, "This is like everything I hate about influencer culture," Honnold said, after I shared Knowles' account with him and he scrolled through the posts. He admitted that he could relate to the impulse to continuously up the ante and shock factor as a young climber, but added that when he was a young soloist in the pre-social media era, it had been easier to compartmentalize. Quote, "That outside pressure influenced my soloing as well," Honnold said. Quote, "It will always factor in, but by posting on social media, you're putting it on steroids." I don't think so. And here's my argument for why soloing on social media is not really that different than soloing for a movie or a social media sponsor. While there is live feedback and there is more feedback and it is a different thing, but I wouldn't say it's any harder. And the reason is because I know that I have something to fall back on if I don't want to do a solo. I never feel pressured to do a solo. Also, if someone else is filming you, we'll talk about this more later because he talks about it. If someone else is filming you, I would never bail. Or at least maybe I would, but like it would be so much harder for me to bail if someone has taken their time out of their day to come solo me with a nice camera versus if I just set up a camera. Who's going to know if I bail? Me. I already know if I bail. Why would I care? Okay, so that's the first point. I film my own stuff. And if I don't want to post something or if I don't want to solo something, I can bail, not post it, come back the next day and still have a banger video. Like it's not that deep. So he's saying that social media is putting it on steroids. This is Alex Honnold, by the way. Alex Honnold is making this argument, so he probably knows what he's talking about a little bit. When he was a young soloist in the pre-social media era, it had been easier to compartmentalize. So it's easier to be like, these people want me to solo Moonlight Buttress, but I don't know if I'm ready, so I'm just going to wait until I'm ready. I don't really care what these people think. Don't you think that me posting on social media and getting tons of hate and tons of misconception, is that a bad word? What word? Misreception would make me care even less about what these people are thinking about me. Because I post videos of me pretending to bail on routes that I've soloed before. So why would it be hard for me to compartmentalize the fact that people are watching me when they already either think I'm lame or they think I'm an idiot? It makes it so much easier for me to not care what they think when all I get is negative comments. If people are always praising you and always looking up to everything you're doing, like Honnold, I feel like it would make it way harder to bail or to do anything bad. You would be embarrassed. And he does get embarrassed. He says that he gets embarrassed by certain things, but I'm not embarrassed to bail off something because I know that people are going to hate me regardless. That's why I do what I do, tight shit. When I asked Honnold about Knowles' idea to use social media to pressure himself to continue soloing harder routes, he was frank. Quote, "That is a deeply unhealthy approach to free soloing," he said. "Free soloing is always a deeply personal experience because the consequences are always death." So I'm guessing that Owen probably misconstrued what I said a little bit to Honnold to get a good reaction, but basically the fundamental idea comes from Honnold because he said, I've always wanted to solo El Cap. I've always wanted to do this certain thing. And now with this documentary, it was like the perfect little tiny push. Like he's always wanted to do it. He's always known he's capable. As soon as the documentary comes, it's just this little push to actually take the steps to do the thing. So the idea comes from you, Honnold. I'm not trying to argue with this guy. Also, I hope he doesn't listen to this video. Also, maybe I'll put a disclaimer. If you are Honnold, do not listen to this video because I'm embarrassed. Quote, free soloing is... Okay. Ultimately, he said that even though when it comes down to motivation, making sure the urge to free solo is intrinsic, not coming from some external catalyst. Completely agree. Quote, part of that is parsing out anything that could affect your motivation or push you physically or psychologically beyond what you're comfortable with. That's why I don't free solo with someone filming me, because I'm not comfortable with that. It would push me beyond what I'm capable of. But in the end, he was reluctant to judge. Yeah. Quote, I'm sure there were old climbers that when I was coming on the scene that thought, quote, that guy's sketch, he admitted. With a young person, you always want to give them the leeway to find themselves and grow up a little, doing what they love to do. Holy goat. That's my goat. My question is this. Is that what Lincoln Knowles loves to do? Is it going free soloing? Is it rock climbing at all? Or is it posting videos of himself making money or something else? Climbing has attracted devil-may-care figures for generations. The stone masters of the 1970s. Drugs, alcohol, and a general disregard for safety were part of the experience. It's easy to cast these soloists in a gentler light compared to the self-aggrandizing social media soloists like Knowles. But it's largely the landscape that's changed, not the figures that are attracted to it. I agree that if there was social media in the Stone Masters age, that they would have been running that shit up. They're doing these crazy rope jumps. They're doing LSD on the walls. They're free solo slacklining, which is way more sketch in my opinion. There were lots of figures and lots of people who do the same stuff that I do. There was no social media. They were doing crazier stuff. The culture of not giving a fuck and being counterculture and doing whatever you want to do and posting it and not caring is integral to climbing. And if you don't think it is because you've grown up in this new climbing era, then you should watch Valley Uprising, please. I was immediately reminded of self-taught ice climber Eugene Vahin, who also posted rage bait on Instagram under the moniker @takeacourse. I would say that is a fair comparison if my Instagram was completely real. But it's not real. I have limits and I have knowledge and I have strength that I do not portray on my Instagram. So even though I might die doing what I like to do, I mean, I don't really know that much about him. I'm not going to speak too much on it. Rest in peace. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with soloists who have died. Other still living soloists have managed to integrate their exploits into a social presence with great success, like Alain Robert. Robert put down a string of 513 free solos before switching to a career climbing skyscrapers. Although he primarily posts old footage from his heyday, Robert's Instagram has soared from a few 100,000 to over 1.5 million since the pandemic. Looking for some more perspective, I chatted with the 24-year-old Alexis Landot, another urban soloist who makes a living posting online. Quote, from a business point of view, what Lincoln is doing is working, Landot told me. No doubt. He's getting a lot of haters, but haters are always good if you can manage it. From a personal point of view, I don't know. He's playing a character. Alexis Landot is the GOAT. We talked a lot in DMs. Super chill guy, French dude, and he's very chill. He's right that in social media getting haters is good, and that it's a character. Like, you can't really understand who I am from these videos unless you meet me in person. And you need to have a good bullshit sensor to watch my videos. I have 2 ropes, one in each hand. One is money and one is passion. Sometimes I pull on one more than the other, but I keep both in my hands. Oh, tough ass quote. Tough ass quote. What the hell, bro, is going off? Fuck. Tough ass quote. Gotta give bro props. I would agree. Yeah, sometimes you have to focus on passion and sometimes you have to focus on money. That's why I make skits sometimes, and that's why I'm actually trying to climb hard routes sometimes. And sometimes they can align. Being clickbait is cringy, but if you're actually doing the things you say in your clickbait, then it's not cringy. That's the difference between free soloing every day. If I'm actually doing it and doing a harder grade, that's just outrageous, which is what people want to see in all types of media, movies, documentaries. They want to see things that are incredible and outrageous. Alexis is saying that playing things up online is bad. But if you're doing things that are insane, like climbing skyscrapers, you don't need to do the I slip, I fall. You can just be like, I climbed a fucking skyscraper. That is sick in itself. Now they're talking about my background. Knowles hasn't been climbing for long. He grew up in the flatlands of Kansas City, Missouri, watched free solo when he was 13, and began pulling plastic indoors 2 years later at age 15. Within a year, he was taking trips to Boulder outside at Horseshoe Canyon Ranch. And it was around this time that he also started free soloing parking garages, churches, and urban structures around Kansas City. He climbed his first multi-pitch at age 18 and has since moved to Salt Lake City for the climbing. And just a few weeks before we chatted, he sent his hardest red point, Machine Gun Funk 13A. And so while that is true, that's not what I told him. I said, he was like, how hard do you climb? I was like, well, I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you this. I did Machine Gun Funk, which is 13A, second try. Almost onside it. That's actually cap. It was a second try. If your boulder grade determines your strength and your endurance, and I haven't climbed on a rope, theoretically my rope grade should be much higher than 13A. So he's kind of sandbagging me, but whatever. He wants to make me look bad. For as long as he's been a climber, he's also been a content creator. He dropped his first YouTube video, Greek Gods, a rap video, in October 2018, but his early efforts were harmless skits. I grinned watching them because they reminded me of home videos that I made as a kid. Greek Gods showed our babyface Knowles dancing and rapping about Olympian deities. Another clip, Double Diet Coke, is a mockumentary for the soda brand. But Knowles told me that around a year ago, he decided to blend climbing with YouTube and Instagram channels, and his first videos documented rope climbs and then began filming his free solos. That's actually cap. I used to solo buildings like 3 years ago, and I have a video on this channel. Then he began filming himself selfie style mid-route. Honnold has famously filmed his own free solos in the past, but said that in general, any integration of self-documentation and free soloing is super sketchy. He insists it's different from having a third party film you because it requires you to think about two things at once, your climbing and your videography. No, it doesn't. It's literally so easy. All you do is you get to a ledge, you do a little clip, and if you're locked in and you need to be locked in for the whole time, which you don't, there's 5 9s on every route, then you just don't pull out the phone. It's pretty simple. But if you have someone filming you and they're relying on you to do something, I mean, maybe it gets different when they're not relying on you anymore. But to me, I don't know. It's way easier to set up a camera and then just get locked in on a single pitch or just like film when you're not trying hard. Also, maybe what he's talking about is like wearing a GoPro, and it is annoying to wear a GoPro, and I hate doing it. So maybe he's right. But if I could just have like a camera from far away, long lens that just seeked me and followed me, it would be so chill. It would literally be so chill. It's so much more chill than having a person do it, in my opinion, unless you just don't care at all about the person. But maybe I'll get used to it eventually. Honnold is certainly no stranger to garnering fame and fortune for free soloing. He admits that balancing motivations is a constant tightrope walk, but as an emerging climber, he said that instead of chasing fame, he strove to do rad stuff. that he found personally inspiring and let the fame come to him. Quote, "My motto has always been, if you do something cool enough, other people will come film you. You don't need to film yourself. People have offered to film me. I don't want people to film me. It stresses me out, at least right now. Maybe I'll get used to it, but like for Knowles, bringing a camera up the wall to film himself felt like a logical progression. Quote, most soloists just keep their shit private, and I agree with that to some extent if you think the camera is going to mess you up," he said. Quote, "But also if you have a job you hate, you're soloing every day and doing things that the average person would think of as incredible and amazing, I don't understand why you wouldn't at least attempt to monetize it." Bars. Bars by Lincoln. Whoever this Lincoln guy is cooking. If you have a job you hate and you do stuff that's cool, but you don't want to monetize it out of pride, that seems really dumb. It's difficult to determine how much risk Knowles is taking. His videos are often heavily edited and feature intentionally misleading titles and claims. That's why your bullshit detector has to be strong. In one video, he claims to be, quote, trying a V10 dyno on what is clearly not V10. Okay, Owen, you can't even climb V10. How are you going to tell me what's V10? Okay, it was more like V2. You got me. It determines who's watching with a little bit of logic and who's not. And another, he shotguns a beer, chucks the can on the ground, and says he's going to free solo a 5'11", but never gets more than 10 feet off the ground. I was 25 feet off the ground. You can't really see because the angle. Pop it up. Just kidding. I'm too lazy. I'm not going to pop it up. Then there's the quote, free soloing a harder route every day, which for obvious reasons hasn't actually occurred. To Honnold, this is the biggest issue with Knowles. His internet presence is so drenched in irony that it's hard to parse what's real and what's not. In a word, he's fake. Quote, posting as a character, it's sketchy, Honnold said. As a soloist, you want to be you. You want to be honest with your motivations, your intentions, and all the things you're doing. I make a real effort so that what you see in media is exactly what you get in real life. And that is a very old head way of thinking about it. No social media can possibly portray you as a person. And Free Solo, Honnold says he looks back and cringes. It obviously doesn't portray him as a person. It's over-dramatized. It's not realistic. It's impossible to be realistic in any form of media. It's just me. Sometimes I'm scared, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I sin and sometimes I don't, but it's all honest. Everything is going to be taken out of context and everything, because your life is the context and someone can't possibly know your whole life. So that's why I feel like honesty is it's a goal for some. It's not a goal for me. It depends on the purpose. Like someone like Alex Honnold, his purpose is to do cool shit, to inspire others, to inspire climbers to start climbing. My purpose right now is to entertain. It's not to inspire really yet. So that's why I disagree with the honest thing. And Landot says, quote, as long as you're always being honest, you're not setting a good or bad example, you're just showing the truth. And I agree, but I don't think that Landot is being honest either. I don't think you can be. All types of people interact with Knowles' video online. Many are rock climbers and plenty discourage him. Others respond with gag-worthy ego stroking. Quote, everyone is saying stop because they are too cowardly to witness greatness born from passion. Shout out Aiden, who left that comment. He's the GOAT. Great supporter. Quote, free solos here. This is literally the mood. Okay, that one's kind of corny. Many of these followers, as corny as they are, appear somewhat familiar with rock climbing, at least enough to realize free soloing is not standard practice or an entry-level discipline. But for others, Knowles is their first exposure to climbing, and his content appears to set a dangerous precedent. Quote, I'm here in Utah looking to get into free soloing. Any recommendations? I did see this comment, and you should not be asking me for recommendations. That's why I didn't respond. Okay? But I don't think that my profile is influencing people to free solo unsafely, just like Free Solo, the movie, is not influencing the people to free solo unsafely. Because if you are a novice climber and you try to climb something, 5 feet up, you're going to be like, this shit is terrible and scary, and there's choss everywhere, and I have no idea what I'm doing. You're not going to think just because this guy online can do it. Like, people see skateboarders doing 900s and they don't go try to do a 900 because it's hard as fuck. I can't even drop in. Quote, my friend Benji, what does free solo mean for those of us that don't know a thing about climbing? For some new climbers, Knowles may be an introduction to rock climbing, and like all of us, he has his own heroes. So yeah, I am introducing people to rock climbing. A lot of people have said that they started climbing because of me and they're inspired by me. And that is, in my opinion, a good thing for people to get active, to do something that's cool. And free soloing is the most ultimate form of rock climbing. I'm sorry, but it is. And so if you're inspired by that, you're going to do rock climbing in the gym to just try to get a taste of the level. That doesn't mean you're actually going to even ever end up free soloing. He told me he was inspired by famous soloists that have come before him, Peter Croft, Brad Gobright, and Honnold, to name a few, although he's aware, quote, they probably disagree with most of my principles. I try not to idolize anyone, Knowles told me. Later, when I asked him if he had ever interacted with Honnold, he said, quote, I don't really want to meet him for a long time because he holds this place in my head where he's a fictional version of himself, and if I meet him, then it's like shattering the illusion, you know? I don't know, I said. That sounds a lot like idolization. Knowles laughed. My opinion of some soloists or some inspirations, like David Goggins, for example, is I don't want to meet them and them to ruin this aura and inspiration that I have of them in my head. I want to keep it intact. I want to share their knowledge and share their wisdom without having to humanize them and seeing how imperfect they actually are. I want to see them as perfect people who are insanely good at something, and that inspires me to be insanely good at what I do. In many ways, Knowles reminds me of a child kicked out of the huddle at recess. Shut up. Clamoring to get in and play with the big kids no matter the costs. A normal cast blocked me. He told me at one point during our conversation, I guess he didn't like my reels. He's saying a normal cast is a big kid who's kicking me out of the playground. I'm already in the playground, motherfucker. You can't play on the ground unless you got my permission type shit. A normal cast did unblock me. A normal cast update also, he hasn't responded to my DM. So I don't know if it's happening. I guess we'll find out, but right now, he hasn't responded to my DM. It's clear that Knowles is proud of the hate he receives and proud of being blocked by well-known climbers, but also sort of embarrassed. Quote, a lot of climbers want social media following, but they don't want to sell out to get it. That's kind of what I did. It's easy for me to complain about not being taken seriously, but it's definitely my fault for portraying myself this way. So yeah, so at the cost of people taking me seriously and having a potential to be a professional, well-respected climber by everyone, which is impossible, by the way. You can't be respected by everyone. But I made a mockery and made a joke out of myself. I made myself the butt of a joke. And it worked. Now I'm here. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily embarrassed or proud of being blocked by these people. It's just simply a consequence of my own actions, just like getting banned from Bouldering Project for drinking. But if I ever want to become a serious soloist or a serious person, the only thing I have to do is stop making jokes and do serious shit. If I do something that's actually impressive, people are going to be like, oh, this guy's actually fucking legit. From getting to know Knowles, it's clear that he clings onto an absurdist and perhaps existentialist view of life. We could die at any second and nothing really matters. Life's short and has no inherent meaning. I tend to agree. Life has no meaning except what we give it. So if Knowles and his followers have made it this far into this essay, let's gather around and take a knee. Okay, let's take a knee. Let's go. Life is short. We will be worm food eventually, maybe in 30 years, maybe tomorrow. Selling out a little bit to make ends meet is fine, but when you go splat, all the Instagram and YouTube clout goes away. All right, I'm not taking a fucking knee. Fuck you. What's left? Legacy. So Lincoln, dude, you have a platform. You've got tens of... All right, first of all, if this dude is going to try to talk to me directly, let me say something. You are inherently a critic. Critics don't get statues. All right, I know that's kind of a corny quote, but it's true. Talking about other people instead of doing something yourself, I mean, I guess he is doing something himself. Actually, I don't know. I don't have a problem with this guy. I don't know what I was about to say. But he's kind of being patronizing here. I mean, let's be honest. So Lincoln, dude, you have a platform. You've got tens of thousands of eyes, maybe even hundreds of thousands. Bitch, I got millions. You said it yourself. 18 million the past 30 days, ho. Surely you have more to offer the world than rage bait and shock value. I do. And maybe if you looked past the surface a little bit and watched some long-form YouTube videos, you would see that maybe there's something there. Maybe, just maybe. I started climbing at age 11, introduced to our sport first by John Long's writing about the Yosemite Valley heyday. Me too, Valley Uprising. Being introduced to climbing through these mediums impressed upon me that climbing was more than about being strong or agile. It was more than about being fearless. What I learned is that before I ever tied into a route or stood on a summit, was that if I wanted to be a climber, I didn't just need strength and tenacity, but integrity. I learned that climbing was about what you did, how you behaved in the wilderness when no one was watching. I learned that climbing was about breaking trail and leading by example. I was always grateful this was how I was introduced to our sport, and I'm grateful that I'm not a kid today scrolling Instagram being introduced to climbing by Lincoln Knowles. Well, isn't that fucking all sunshine and rainbows? Maybe climbing isn't what you think it is. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe climbing is a very neutral thing, and you can literally do whatever the fuck you want. Free will. We live on a floating rock. If you want to solo and you want to do hard-ass shit that's pushing your limits, then solo. If you want to stay inside at a gym and fucking do V1s, then do it. I don't give a fuck. If you're happy in doing, I don't care. Free will. Climbing doesn't have to be this ultra serious spiritual pursuit. It doesn't. I mean, it can be. Soloing is if you're locked the fuck in and you're thinking about life and you're just flowing, it's one of the most profound things that you can do. But it doesn't have to be anything. You are completely free. Everyone is completely free to do whatever the fuck you want. Free will max every day. Get off your freaking high horse and go smoke some reefer, bit. I have a big platform. My main message to you guys is to be inspired by whatever you want to be inspired by, and don't let anything stop you, no matter what. If it's fear, if it's people telling you not to do it, you have the most free will that you'll ever have right now, so go fucking do something about it. Peace out. That was my reaction to Climbing Magazine. All love. It's all love. You're doing it for views. I'm doing it for views. There's no hate. It's all love. I'm just defending myself. Thank you for watching. We out.